And we are what? We are back because what we legally everywhere looking into everything. Okay, so listen. This Venezuela conversation isn't just about one headline. No, it's not. What we're actually looking at is a shift in global energy power. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. When supply gets disrupted, like what's happening, I don't know, right now, like right now, the market starts looking for alternatives. Okay, that's where Venezuela enters the chat. Yes, that is where Venezuela comes into the conversation. Now we've been talking about Venezuela. I saw that back in December and January, but guess what? So it's back on the table. And as you watch this, I just want you to think about the fact this is not just one event. This is not just one event. Think about supply. I want you to think about sanctions. And I want you to think more importantly about what? Who gains leverage? Who gains leverage when a system shifts? Who gets the leverage? Okay? As you start to look at this next set of information, think about who gets the leverage. And follow this map that I'm showing you. Because that hopefully will help you understand what's happening. Yeah. You like, hey, why y'all, moving and doing that, and you trying to act like you didn't do it? That's always going to put a nasty taste in somebody's mouth if that is their perspective as to what happened, right? So it raised questions once again about external influences, and we know that they've already had somewhat the taste of vinegar in their mouth about external influences relevant to the history that they had, a decade plus of dealing with, right? So what ends up happening is the person who runs in opposition of Chavez at the time, they reported that this person received some support from multiple sources, being one of them being the U.S., right? And they felt like they was getting funding. And, they felt some type of way about that. So we'll see the same comeback of later, but Maria Corina Machado was involved in the opposition activism. And we know that she's received many awards, even more recently, another Peace Prize. There'll be a piece that I'm going to jump into about that a little bit later. It's very interesting about how that one wasn't publicized as much. Like you didn't see like an actual installation with it being laid on the back. Like it was very interesting. I did look into it because of all the kind of things that have been happening relevant to it. But to stay on topic with the timeline, the National Endowment for Democracy funded various Venezuelan groups, right? Although we must acknowledge, while I'm speaking of the U.S., denied direct involvement in the coup itself, right? But here's how I think it's important. You don't have to say, I'm affiliated, right? We have things in modern day, right? People wear a hat like, hey, I'm affiliated with this. You don't always have to do that. You don't have to say, I went to the concert, got the t-shirt, got the hat, got the lanyard, whatever. You don't have to do that. You do not have to wear items of affiliation or association to be affiliated or associated, to be involved, right? Sometimes it's funding. Sometimes it's a grant. Sometimes it's me putting money behind you so you can get in the rooms that you couldn't get in before. Because you're like, hey, I would love to go up against this person, but I don't got the money. I would love to campaign for a position, but I don't got the money. I don't got the financial backing. It costs X amount of dollars to run a campaign for said position. I don't have that accessible. A person might say, well, what are you trying to do? I think that could suit other needs that maybe I have. I would like to support you. Or maybe I see that I need this other person out that position. So I feel like maybe you'd be better for whatever reason. Sometimes it looks like I got your back because I'm putting money on you. So I'm at your 6. I got your back. Oh, no worries. You want to get in that room? I'm going to make sure the money is accessible so you can get in that room. And you can move how you need to. As long as you need to do what we need you to do. But it also might be things I'm asking you to do because I'm funding you. And that becomes a part of conversations. I always say, if somebody's funding somebody, how much did they pay them? Why did they pay them? What did they promise them? What are they going to get out of it? These are questions that we all, as constituents, generally want to know. Now, in this situation, I'm not a constituent of this particular body, but in general, I always say it's important for us to ask those kind of questions because they help inform certain things on the back end. You know what I'm saying? So let's move to the next piece, the oil renationalization, right? And this is where it really gets interesting, right? So Chavez was able to make some movements there, right? Like the way that the oil was being carried, he said, we're going to move these bills. We have to switch this stuff all up. We're going to make sure that, my people get their money. My people as my constituents, the people who elected me, people to put me in or whatever. So he kind of made some movements, right? And what happened when the repositioning occurred, foreign bodies who were mostly benefiting from the relationship that they had, because keep in mind, it was more, let's say, appetizing to a foreign body because let's say they're getting the majority of the benefits, proceeds, the money, the power, the leverage. And the everyday, Venezuelan was not able to have that benefit. So this foreign body, now that they're saying, no, we're going to take a bigger piece of this, cut of this money. This money been moving real funny. I do not like it. We finna change this up. We're definitely going to have to adjust the way that this is positioned. And ExxonMobil, as we mentioned before, was one of those parties. So they went from being a majority beneficiary to being a minority. Anytime you had that switch, you always going to have some discomfort. So they said they wouldn't happen there, right? Because not only were they losing like operational control, but you keep in mind, to lose that control means they lost leverage and they're actually losing tangible dollars, a lot, right? A lot of money. Another thing that they did was they kind of did some sanctions and stuff. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that right next, but it was very, very interesting. So what ended up happening that I found very significant was ExxonMobil ended up suing, right? So the international arbitration, they won $1.4 billion in compensation, right? But here's where I felt like it was super important, right? Like if you're a sovereign nation and it's your asset, it's your resource, who gonna make you run them the money? Who's gonna make you pay that $1.4 billion in compensation to ExxonMobil? Who's gonna make you pay it? You know what I'm saying? Because you're sovereign, it's your resource. Like, who gonna make you do it? Like, who do you have to answer to make you pay it? Okay, so that's a governance question. But it was, once again, very interesting to read how all that played out. So this is like 2007-ish, right? 2007-ish, right? And we think about what happened even in like the U.S. economy, around that time, like immediately following that time frame, relevant to money, and it starts to make sense when I start talking about how oil is what that girl is, the it girl. Okay, so you made it, right? If this helps you connect dots, right? That's the point of this page, right? I take current events, I take history, public information, and I pretty much map it so that they all connect, right? And I did that so that people can follow the bigger picture without getting lost in the noise, getting lost in the sauce, because I feel like that's what happens, right? We get lost in the sauce because so much is going on. It's too much at the same time. So hopefully this was helpful to you and you keep watching, because this is a part of a larger tour. Right? This is part of a larger tour. There are so many things that are going on, and I love helping you guys see the connections as I've been seeing them. So, this is Legally Everywhere. We're what? We are looking into everything, and I hope to see you in the next video. Next time.